Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ride Rescue and the Ram Rescue. In this episode I'm hoping to get 90-95% of the truck all assembled and actually take it for a test drive. If I can get it to go down the road and back, I can check all the electronics and make sure I've got everything fixed. Got my fingers crossed. Wish me luck. I'm able to take it for a little test drive around the neighborhood and check to make sure everything works. And that panel quit on me. So the sunroof features and the back window switch, those work. But these top switches and the lights, they don't work. So I'm back to diagnosing the wires again on the side of this. While I was out testing things, I got an error code on the dash that said the cruise does not work. And so I spritzed a little water on the windshield and the rain sensor does not work. But when I tested the headlights have an auto dimming feature. I was able to test that and it does work. So inside of this panel, I'm getting some other errors. So my thought process was, well, whatever is going wrong in here most likely is linked to there. But when I pulled up the wiring schematics, they are all separate. So this piece, I checked all the wiring again and everything looks great. So I just had my fingers crossed, hoping that maybe with everything that I was doing playing around in here, that I blew a fuse. And sure enough, underneath the steering wheel there's a panel. You take that panel off. There is the fuses, and there was a burned out fuse. So I went through and pulled every single fuse one at a time, checked it, and it was only the one fuse. Once I got that fuse in, this all works. When I open and close the door, now you can see the lights work, the SOS and the assist has little red indicators. Oh, there they go. The red indicators show that those are working. The tailgate works. The lights on and off work. You can see the little symbol there. The door light on and off symbol works. You can see they just faded off. So all those features are now working properly. Tested the stereo. I was getting an overload error on the stereo system from the amplifier. So the amplifier was giving me a code that the speakers were overloading. I was getting feedback, probably a power. So whatever power jumped and blew that fuse was somehow linked to all of the stereo system. And I suspect it was probably the speakers there in the back. Because that is all part of that same wire harness. So now that I've replaced the fuse, I tested the stereo system and everything works perfectly with that system. But I'm still not getting cruise control or rain sensor. So when I looked at this wire harness, it actually runs down this side of the roof, down this A-pillar and into this side panel. So I suspect that maybe I have the same rust issue in this connection. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm hoping I can just clean that up. Even if I have to replace this wire harness and nothing is damaged in that panel, that wire harness is $25–30. So that's no big deal. It's a bear to have to pull all this out again to get to it. But the sensor, the radar sensor that's in that box, is $2,000 retail and is $1,500 wholesale. I was able to find one online for around $500 that's used. So that is a very expensive piece to have to replace. So I'm hoping that's not damaged. So I'm going to take this side panel off. I'm hoping there's a connector right there and I can inspect it and see what's going on in that piece, if anything. Yep, well there's the wire harness, there's the connection, and there's rust. Yeah, this connector also got full of water. These pins are pretty rusty. I can see some green from the copper that's corroded. You can see the corrosion on the pins. Doesn't look like it broke any pins. That's fortunate. I don't know about inside the actual plug, if any of those keepers are damaged. So I'll have to pull each one of those out and clean them. This one's kind of tough to get to. I'm hoping I can just get a brush in there and clean. I don't want to have to pull all these pins out, but I will if it's necessary. So I'm going to start by just putting some WD-40 on all these connectors and plug it in and unplug it and plug it in and unplug it. Just keep working it a little bit and see if maybe I get a good connection on those. There is a dash light that tells me that the cruise is out, so that'll be a real quick and easy way to tell. If that dash light indicator goes off, then I'm probably good. Can't really get down into those receptacles. So I'm hoping if I just work it on and off of the plugs, then I'll be able to get a connection. So I'm just going to hold the locking mechanism in and just work it in and out. And hopefully the friction will clean those areas with that WD-40, getting a little bit of rust residue off. Let's test it out. I'll grab the key fob, and we'll see if that indicator light goes off. I'm not sure if this is going to start now. I still have that bottom panel disconnected, and there's a few things that were connected to it. Looks like maybe a sensor or something. So push the button and see. Electrical jump possibilities there. Probably just needs a good cleaning. dashboard, as they say. I'll do another quick cleaning, and then I'm going to have to just take this out on the road and see if maybe it'll clear itself. That's what happened with the airbags. It's common. You end up having to start and stop a few times and turn it on, turn it off, take it for a drive. A lot of times they'll clear themselves. I'll play around with it some more and try it out. Well, that didn't work. Turned it on and off several times. Drove about a mile, start and stop. When I push the cruise set, the indicator on the dash goes out. It acts like it's going to work, but then that error code pops back up again. Tried all the other buttons, nothing seems to make any difference. But then hit that set plus. But then when I hit the set plus button, the indicator light goes off. But a few seconds later, it just pops back up again. So I'm going to take the cover off of this. It's a bear. Every time I take it off, I've taken it off twice now, I feel like I'm going to break something. But I need to check it one last time before I end up taking it to the dealer. I called the dealer, $130 just to hook up the diagnostic pad, which is crazy. $100 to $130 per hour for electrical problems. They wanted to schedule it for 2 days. If they milked it out for 2 days at $100 an hour, yeah. And I'm sure they would try to force me into replacing that radar control, which is $1,500 wholesale. I doubt I could get it wholesale. I could order it online and get a wholesale, but if I buy it through them with the service, I'm going to be paying $2,000. We're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 at the dealership. So anything I can do to avoid that. Don't want to pry against the windshield to get this off, so you have to just kind of get your fingers under the edge. First time I took it off, I knocked the rear view mirror off the bracket, and that was really hard to figure out how to get back on. Didn't break it. One of these times I will. I don't want to have to take it off anymore. The receptacle, the female end, looks clean. So this one is the rain sensor. This one is the headlight sensor from my understanding. And then this is the radar camera. It doesn't look like anything here has gotten wet. So when the water was getting into this panel, and it was running across the headliner, just enough of a channel there that it was running down off of both sides of the dash, and that's what got those wire harnesses wet. But it doesn't appear as though anything inside of these pieces have gotten wet. All the pins and the radar camera are straight and they're clean, so that looks good. I know this connection to the rear view mirror is good because that one works. There is a sensor in the back of the rear view mirror as well as this sensor. One of those is probably the auto dimming feature for the headlights or for the rear view mirror because it is also auto dimming. That sensor typically is from the rear. Like I say, I don't see any water damage. I don't see any moisture, any droplets. No indication at all that anything in here got wet. The lens is clean. I am going to leave this cover off so that I don't end up, if I do have to replace this radar camera, I'm tempted to just purchase one. You can buy a used one. It's got a 90-day guarantee. Test it out. If I'm still getting the same problem, then I know I can eliminate this camera. If I do end up taking it to the dealer, they'll most likely want to remove this anyway. Yeah, if they break it, they have to buy it. But I can just see them saying, oh, we broke it, but it's not our fault. I don't know. I'm skeptical of dealers. I've had too many issues. I like to try the radio now that all the console is in and try all the USB ports. I tried the one in here and it does not work. I tried the ones here on the front and plugged in a little pod into the auxiliary port, and now I'm getting an anti-theft code. Okay, what is that all about? That's a first. Something to do with the key fob. Once I started it, everything's fine. Let's try it on auxiliary. Okay. Let's do media. Try the pod. That's good. I know my auxiliary and my USBs, everything work except the one in the console. I've got a book on CD. We'll try the CD player. Didn't want to take it first, but it just slid in. Well, looks like another piece of electronics bites the dust with the moisture. I've seen them on eBay. Yeah, it's disappointing. So if I want to replace this, which I know you can, I've seen them used, I'll pull the console back out and slide in another one. Another wiring issue, maybe. Say it's pretty disappointing. I did try out the charging pad, and it does work. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm here to learn, to teach and hopefully to inspire. So hit my subscribe button. I really appreciate you subscribing. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a like. Thanks again for watching.